We all know what it feels like to be bullied. Many times it is overlooked as a rite of passage. Parents and teachers too often tell kids, just ignore the bully and it will stop.
But today, bullying is making headlines far too frequently, and sometimes, as we've seen right here in Western Massachusetts, it results in a young person taking his or her own life.
Reel to Real's Teri Breguet caught up with an international expert on the subject who uncovers the myths and offers real solutions for today's young people.
Bullying is just part of growing up. After all, the victim teased in the movies always ends up on top. Not so in real life. The tragic consequences of bullying have increasingly made the news, prompting Massachusetts lawmakers to step up efforts to pass a bullying prevention measure as early as next month. This as 15-year-old Phoebe Prince, a freshman at South Hadley High School, took her life January 14th. While her death is still under investigation, there is growing evidence that Prince was tormented by a clique of girls through cell phone texting and social networking sites on the internet, a vicious growing phenomenon known as cyberbullying. In another incident last April, 11-year-old Carl J. Walker Hoover hung himself after relentless bullying from classmates at the New Leadership Charter School in Springfield. According to anti-bullying activist JODEE BLANCO, author of the New York Times bestseller, Please Stop Laughing at Me, parents and educators need to realize that both the victim and the bully are bleeding emotionally.
Kids don't bully because they're cruel. Bullying is the desperate need to fit in, run amok. The bully and the victim are flip sides of the same coin. Both are driven by the desperate need to fit in.
Blanco addressed educators in the Springfield Diocese last fall during the Teacher in Service Day at Cathedral High School. She decided to go public with her personal bullying experience after the Columbine High School massacre in 1999, where two seniors went on a shooting rampage, killing 13 people before killing themselves.
I was the kid who was different. And like so many other kids who are different today, I struggled to fit in and was tormented by my classmates. And I handled it by following the advice of well-intentioned but profoundly misguided adults who kept telling me to ignore the bullies and they'll go away. And I buried my past for years. And then when Columbine happened, I became enraged because I said, what happened at Columbine had nothing to do with the availability of guns.
Blanco takes her anti-bullying program, It's Not Just Joking Around, to schools across America. She has intervened in more than 24 bully-related suicides, a school bombing, and averted countless acts of profound violence.
My two primary messages to kids when I do tour schools is one, it's not just joking around. Bullying damages you for life. And two, and most importantly, bullying just isn't the mean things you do. It's all the nice things you never do. Letting someone sit alone at lunch, letting someone walk to class alone, always choosing the same purse last when dividing into teams.
Bullying in all its forms is a complicated matter. 53% of students in 4th to 8th grade admit to having said mean or hurtful things to someone online. Recent surveys conducted by internet safety organizations show that more than 50% of adolescents experience some form of cyberbullying. Many times it begins as early as age 9, and in the teen years, cyberbullying usually accompanies some form of sexual harassment. Furthermore, educators estimate that more than 160,000 students miss school each day in the United States because they fear their peers. Bullying and truancy go hand in hand. After all, if a student does not feel safe in a school environment or on their way to or from school, they will avoid school altogether, become truant, and their grades will suffer. Add to that mix cyberbullying, and the technology allows the taunting to continue even outside of school, and there's no escape. General mood and physical health are good indicators of whether or not a child is being harassed. Victims tend to be hypervigilant or withdrawn or depressed. Blanco's advice to parents is twofold.
What parents have to say to their children is not to ignore the bullies, that standing up for yourself non-violently in the moment abuse occurs is your human right. Seeking vengeance later on is the sin. Parents have to encourage their kids to look the elite tormentors, that's my term for the mean popular kids, to look those elite tormentors in the eye, stare them down, show no emotion, and tell them to stop.
The second part is to remedy the child's loneliness from exclusion.
And as parents, yes, you have to deal with the school if your kid is being bullied. Yes, you have to deal with probably a therapist. Yes, you have to deal with the parents of the bullies. But before you can do any of that, the first thing you need to do is stop the bleeding. And you do that by providing an interim social life for your child.
BLANCO recommends contacting the park department or library of a neighboring town that does not feed into the child's school system. She says ask for a list of activities.
This will save your child's life if they truly are suicidal, because what drives most bullied kids to suicide isn't anger, it's loneliness.
Prevention is key, and while Springfield Diocesan schools have a zero-tolerance policy toward bullying, every school also has a program in place to address issues of safety. St. Thomas School in West Springfield has utilized the peer mediation program.
Basically, it gives students from grades 6, 7, and 8 who volunteer for this, and it trains them with skills to intervene, listening skills, reflection skills, working one-on-one, helping students to work towards their own solution.
Students at Commerce High School in Springfield have produced a public service announcement which is being utilized throughout the city's middle and high schools.
We didn't take the approach of basically just telling them, hey, bullying is wrong, and that's it. We actually took a stronger approach at it, and we showed them what bullying looks like to them. So they were basically on the other side of it.
Mona Lisa Learn portrayed the victim, a role she is all too familiar with.
I grew up in another country, and because I was half of two races, I went into a lot of bullying. It's not cool. And I just want people out there to know that you really feel really bad about yourself, and nobody wants to feel that way.
Should Massachusetts pass an anti-bullying law, it will join 41 other states with such legislation already in place. For Real to Real, I'm Teri Breguet.
Teri Breguet, by the way, has written a book on the subject of bullying. It was released by Rosen Publishers out of New York and is available at Barnes & Noble bookstores.
Teri Breguet has penned a reflection on the topic for the new diocesan blog, Western Mass Catholic Voices. Go to iobserve.org for the link. Also, bullying resources are available via a hot link at dialspringfield.org. It's great that so many people are writing and talking about such a serious topic.